And yes, we are back here at Holy Family Radio. This is the Spring Spirit Drive. I'm Deacon Jeff, along with Kim Schrader in the studio. Our brand new studios here on the campus of St. John the Baptist Catholic Church in Glandorf, Ohio. We're so very grateful to be able to be here to ask you to help us to continue this mission of evangelization and education of the Catholic faith to everyone out there who could potentially listen. So we want to thank you for listening and maybe watching if you're on the live stream with us, as we go on periodically throughout the day. Just want to thank you so much as we reach now the final hours of this 2023 edition of the Spring Spirit Drive. It's been a labor of love. It's been a lot of fun. It's been tiring at times.
Sure.
But this is something that we love to do. And just think about the fact that if you weren't hearing my voice right now, where would you hear the truth of the faith, the Catholic Church and the Catholic radio? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be there, would it? There would be something else that would fill the void.
Yeah, you'd be without a Catholic radio station in almost our entire listening area, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you likely would be out of range of some of the other Catholic radio stations within the state. Mm-hmm. And it's such a blessing. It is just such a blessing to have Catholic radio. It really is. It expands those who can influence us. Instead of those that can influence us being limited to, our own parish priests, mm-hmm. Leadership in friends and family in the area, now all of a sudden one has access to, nationally, internationally known hosts, speakers, programs, theologians. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's such a blessing to us. But we can't do this without you. We can't keep bringing it to you, and we can't expand the listening area without your support. So, why don't you give us a call at 888-287-0655. In fact, Deacon Jeff, we have
That's right.
We have quite a bit of matching funds on the table right now.
Yeah, brand new matching funds that have just shown up. So,
and we have two new apostles.
Two new apostles. So you need me to do the little sound?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
I love it. So these apostles, we not only have the apostles and, yay for that, hallelujah, but we also, these apostles have offered matching funds. So each apostle offered up to $1,000 in matching funds. So take advantage of that right now. Give us a call at 888-287-0655, and your dollar can be doubled. Your 100 can be 200. Whatever your best gift is suddenly becomes doubled through somebody else's pocket. Give us that call at 888-287-0655. We also have a donation to acknowledge in memory of Cleo and Kathleen Schrader. So thank you very much to that donor. You know who you are. So we got good things happening here, Deacon Jeff.
We do. There's a lot of energy here as we anticipate the arrival of Bishop Thomas here this afternoon. So as we await his arrival sometime here shortly, hopefully, we're just kind of asking you once again to sow a seed into this ministry. We need that phone to ring. We need that phone to ring a lot if we want to exceed our goal. So I would say, if I'm looking at this, we are roughly between $5,000 and $6,000 away from our goal. And if we can reach that, then we will reach new heights here as a radio apostolate and group. Because, that is just so exciting for me to be able to, coming off of COVID that we've talked about with a few people, we didn't even have a real spirit drive in the springtime. We just did 2 days. It was kind of abbreviated. And then we did a short one then in the fall, mm-hmm. where I just kind of came on for like 10 minutes in an hour and did something and stuff. To now to kind of reach the point that we had the challenge of last year Friday, mm-hmm. where we lost the signal on 2 of our 3 radio stations. I mean, just imagine that. Yeah. Imagine the what we've had to overcome to get to this point here. So,
that cut signal.
Yes.
Definitely impacted the donations that were received that year, because Friday is usually our most
it's our biggest day.
biggest day. Yeah, it's the most generous day.
I call it our Black Friday. This is our Black Friday. We need all the sales that we can possibly get on this day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so it's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. We are down to just a little over 3 hours left of this Spring Spirit Drive 2023. So it is now time. No more procrastinating.
That's right.
It is time to pick up that phone and give us a call at 888-287-0655. Of course, you can always donate online. That will count in the numbers that we're watching. It'll count
right.
in this year's Spirit Drive. And you can do that by the link in Holy Family Radio's app or at holyfamilyradio.fm website. And finally, we can send you a direct link to that online donation portable if you simply text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255.
888-287-0655. Always was told you can't give out that number often enough, and I've actually heard from folks to say, I was listening to that interview and I wanted to donate, but you never said the numbers. You never said the numbers. You guys kept talking but didn't give the numbers out. So we're going to give those numbers out a lot here as we wrap up this Spirit Drive here today at 888-287-0655. Thank you to that person who just called. We still have a line open right now for you at 888-287-0655. Now, where's my sheet here for our underwriters? This hour, we're going to recognize and highlight for our underwriter. It is Venture Visionary Partners. Local Craig Warnament with Venture Visionary Partners is our underwriter of the hour that we'd like to recognize and thank them for their I'm thinking that might be the wrong name. I think that might be the wrong name. It's still Craig, but I think it's a wrong name. I apologize for that. I have to look that up. But either way, no, it's fine. No, we like to hear those. I like to hear the phone ring.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, so that is the underwriter that we'd like to highlight this hour and next hour. In case we don't get to it, it's Nice Transport.
Yeah.
So thank you to Nice Transport, Kevin Nice over there, for their support here at Holy Family Radio.
And Deacon Jeff, did we thank, please forgive me if we did, but they won't mind, I guess, if we thank them again. Did we thank Blue Jay Financial Group and Ken's Furniture?
No, we did not.
Okay, so we need to recognize both of those.
And those are both out of Defiance.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your underwriting here on Holy Family Radio. And I don't recall us thanking Glandorf Warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you to Glandorf Warehouse. So that gets us pretty well caught up on the underwriters we wanted to make sure to thank. The underwriters are critical business partners for us. They
Right.
choose to underwrite here, and so we appreciate it if you consider their business as you need the various goods or services that they provide. Consider any of the underwriters that you might hear have spots here on Holy Family Radio. But also, please consider giving yourself. Whether you're a repeat donor, whether you're a new donor, whether you're a one-time only donor or a recurring monthly donor, we need you. We absolutely need you, and we appreciate you. Give us a call at 888-287-0655.
That's right, 888-287-0655. I believe both of our phone lines are busy right now. If you do get a busy, see, we told you, we warned you this was going to happen, right?
Yes.
If you waited until now, you're going to it might take multiple phone calls to do that. But don't give up. Keep calling at 888-287-0655. So I should probably update the fact that our esteemed guest has arrived here in the studios. So he's busy meeting all the board members who are here and assembled. So this is an exciting time and a very busy time for us.
We heard a lot of excited utterances
Yes,
there
yes,
out
we
there in the lobby area.
Yep.
Without even turning my head, I had a feeling he had arrived.
Yep, absolutely. So, so with that, we're going to take a short break so that we can kind of get everything situated to be mindful of his time. As you can imagine, he's a busy, busy person. So we want to just make sure we take advantage of his time. He's so gracious to be here. He's the first bishop to ever be here in person, and actually even on the phone, for a spirit drive. So we're very thankful for that. And so with that, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have Bishop Thomas on. Don't forget to call or make your online donation right now, 888-287-0655. And welcome back to the Spring Spirit Drive here on Holy Family Radio. Hey, this is Deacon Jeff Compton along with Kim Schrader here as we go and work and get everything situated here as we come back to our Spring Spirit Drive here.
I'm going to forgive you for forgetting my name because we have somebody way more exciting than me in studio with us. So that is quite all right.
Yes, that's yeah. I guess I should be forgiven and ask for forgiveness for that.
No. You didn't really forget. You just paused.
It's been a long 3 days.
Yeah.
Or 2.5 days. We're not quite to the end of our third day. So this is a joyous occasion to be able to be joined in the studio by His Excellency Bishop Daniel E. Thomas of the Diocese of Toledo. Welcome, Bishop Thomas.
Thank you very much, Jeff and Kim. Delightful to be with you. And I'm very excited because this is really the fulfillment of a dream, isn't it, Jeff?
Absolutely it is.
Because I had the great blessing of coming here to Glandorf to bless the new studio. And now, we even talked about the opportunity to get a chance to be here and to be interviewed. And little did I know that I'd be in the Spring Spirit Drive.
That's right.
And so I'm delighted that we could do this and visit, and at the same time invite our listeners to be generous to Catholic Radio for Holy Family Radio.
Right, and we're so grateful that you could join us today on a busy day, which it really was an amazing day for you, being able to visit a local high school and actually a combined school, right?
Exactly, and you were very astute to be looking at my calendar and to suggest this date because it's not so far from Delphus, where I'm coming from, and I had the great joy. I do a biennial visit to all of our Catholic high schools. So this was a biennial visit. And of course, St. John's Delphus, you can't subtract the high school from the rest of the school. Mm-hmm. So we had a beautiful all-school mass at St. John's Delphus Church. And we also had the gift of witnessing their seminarian, Jacob Levecki, take his oath of fidelity and his profession of faith in preparation for his ordination as a deacon in just a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's quite a blessing to, the students to be able to witness that sort of thing, because there are many that, absent that, might never see that in their entire lives.
And I told them that. I said, not many folks have seen this, and so it really is as a gift. Plus, I hope it was also a witness and an encouragement to vocations to the priesthood.
Absolutely.
Because here's a young man who they've gotten to know, serving in their parish as a seminarian, and now he'll take that step. It's the last step prior to priesthood, which, of course, is diaconate ordination.
That's right.
And he has that step coming up in about a month or so?
Right. I believe it's, is it May 21st?
May 21st sounds right.
Yeah. Right, that or thereabout. That's close enough.
If it's a Saturday, it's the 20th, I believe, because I have a baptism on the 21st.
It is Saturday the 20th.
Yes.
You would think I would know, but as I joke, folks, I don't know my calendar more than 24 hours out. Because if I tried to keep it, I'd be in a corner sucking my thumb, unable to speak.
It's like I don't want to know what's coming up, right? Because
exactly.
Just tell me where to go.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Right. Yeah. So we're here for the Spring Spirit Drive. This is the only time that we interrupt our programming, that we ask our listeners to be able to support this station. We've talked recently today about the fact that what if we weren't here? What if we weren't there to be able to provide the inspiration, the education to so many souls out there? So how about you talk about what the importance of and utility of Catholic radio is to you?
Excellent. Thank you, Deacon Jeff. And I'm hoping now, when I walked in, folks, the phones were ringing off the hook. So I'm hoping that the phones are going to ring off the hook and there's going to be a lot of activity on the internet.
Yes.
Making donations. I think the first thing that I always say, and I love to speak in threes, so I always say that Catholic radio is threefold in its mission. And I believe it's evangelization, formation, and information. So it's evangelization in the Catholic faith, and it's evangelizing the culture, obviously through radio. It's evangelizing those who are able to tune in. It's evangelizing Catholics, fallen away Catholics, non-Catholics, and even people who don't believe in God. And I can tell you, I've had the experience of speaking on the radio and being told later that there were prisoners in a prison listening, or there was someone who was discerning to become Catholic. So I believe in every way it is truly evangelization. And that is simply, in a nutshell, that's proclaiming the gospel, as we know. It's also, I believe, formation. So it's formation in a Catholic way because it helps form our listeners in their own Catholic faith. And in that formation, hopefully it assists them perhaps in their prayer, in their knowledge of the Catholic faith, in their dealing with others, and I'm certain in other ways, such as growing in virtue, etc. So I believe it's Catholic formation. And finally, I think it's information, because as I joke, oftentimes I like to tell people what I'm doing, and we just did that,
Right.
and where I'm coming from. And that means it's also good for people to hear information across the board about Catholic life, about the bishop, about what's going on in our diocese. And so I think information is always healthy for people, because it opens their minds to also realize, gosh, this is information that even I could use, for example. So hopefully people who are listening for Holy Family today recognize that in this spirit drive, spring spirit drive, that they're receiving all three when they listen to Catholic radio.
Yeah, thank you. And really one of the things that I like to think about sometimes is the fact that we like to partner with the parishes, so that because we can promote the things that they've got going on, so that they can engage their parishioners more actively and others outside to attract others. And so one of the things that I kind of look at is going on now is the diocesan year of the Eucharist, right? And,
Beautiful.
And the revival. So give us a perspective of what you've experienced so far and what is coming up.
So I'm very, very excited. I have been about this, and we've been pushing this out in our diocese, because in this past year, we are in the midst of what has been called the diocesan year of the National Eucharistic Revival. After the Feast of Corpus Christi in June, we'll enter into the parish year, and then after that, we'll enter into the national year, which will ultimately close with a Eucharistic Congress for the whole country. So it's very exciting, because we've done a really broad spectrum of things. So, for example, we've had 7 what we call Eucharistic evenings, Eucharistic events throughout the diocese. We intentionally chose to have those in various locations so that people from various parishes could come together. I would say on an average, there have been at least 250 people at each of those events. They've been an hour and a half of adoration and prayer and praise, and obviously benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. And we have one more of those left, which will come at the end of April. That's at St. John the 23rd Parish. We also are about to have and host, which is a great gift, because every diocese doesn't get this. The Diocese of Toledo is so thrilled to be able to host the relics of the saints who are the patrons of the National Eucharistic Revival. So that's Bishop Manuel Garcia, and he is known as the Bishop of the Abandoned Tabernacle, and also the youngest blessed in the church, many folks know, is Carlo Acutis, who died at 15 of cancer and is rapidly on his way, I believe, to sainthood. So we are just elated that we'll have the relics here for a full week. They begin, actually, today is Friday, Jeff, I believe. So they come to the diocese on Monday, and they begin in Edgerton. And on the diocesan website, you can see the whole list where you can visit those relics and join in that celebration. I do have to share a couple of notes, too, because I've been writing about the Eucharist. We've been encouraging, folks to engage the Eucharist on our website, to engage, well, what does the Eucharist mean to me? And we did a competition among all school-age children in the diocese, from pre-K to K all the way to 12. And I've just had the great joy of reviewing and helping to choose as a judge, the finalists in every category of age. So there are 4 separate categories. I think it's pre-K through 3, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and then high school. And I have to tell you, get ready for some really wonderful encounters, because we have, it's any medium that they wanted to choose. So we have videos they produced. There were songs that were written. There was sculpture, poetry, essays, paintings, drawings. So I am absolutely excited that we're going to announce the finalists, and then we're going to invite them to an event. All the finalists will get a tour of the cathedral, and then I don't know whether it's pizza or hoagies, I'm not sure, whatever it might be, with the bishop at the cathedral. But it's at that time that we'll announce who the winners are, first, second, and third place. And I must say, too, the gift is, and I'm so proud of our not only our schools, but our parish schools of religion, our CCD programs, and our homeschool children, because we have represented winners in all those categories, which is a
wonderful.
great, great gift, and folks from all around the diocese. And everybody's listening. Well, I should say, not everybody listening knows that the Diocese of Toledo really encompasses Northwest Ohio. It's 19 counties, almost 8,500 square miles. And very, very often I ask folks, do you know that Edgerton, where the relics will begin on Monday, is Edgerton, Bishop, in our diocese? And I'll say, absolutely. And I'll say, what about Mansfield, Lexington? Is that our diocese? What about Van Wert? Is that in our diocese? And I'll say, yes. And Vermilion, right on the border of the Diocese of Cleveland. So the gift is, whether it's, Glandorf or Findlay or Delphus or wherever it might be, Bowling Green, all of our diocese is represented. And I'm so excited for that. And as we move into the parish year, on a local level now, parishes will sort of take off with this. And if I may, there's one invitation that I would give, and I've not put it out publicly yet, but what the heck, we're publicly on radio, right? So
That's
I might as well
right.
say it.
Yeah.
And that invitation is that I would hope that by the end of the Eucharistic revival years, that perhaps, and I know many parishes have this already, but that there be some time dedicated to Eucharistic adoration. Now, many of our parishes, there are some that have 24/7 adoration. Some have a day. Some have a morning, after a morning mass, for example. But I would like to, invite and challenge our parishes to do that, but especially to have that adoration so that people can come and pray for an increase in vocations to the priesthood. Because we are experiencing tremendous challenges, and we know Pope St. John Paul II said, there is no Eucharist without the priesthood, and no priesthood without the Eucharist. So that's an invitation that I would make, and an invitation to folks to come to the parishes that are going to host the relics, and also to stay engaged with what we're doing. And also, I'm sure I haven't seen it around here, but I'm going to encourage that it's here in the studio, and maybe even invite you. That's our Eucharistic Revival prayer that we have published in the diocese. And for all of our listeners, I can share that it's a beautiful thing, because one of the lines in the prayer is that our intention for this Eucharistic Revival time is to deepen our understanding of love for and living out of the Holy Eucharist. So, I do love threes, and that's definitely like a tripod, because if you take one away, it sort of collapses. So
Sure.
it's understanding of, love for, and living out of the Jesus body, blood, soul, and divinity who we receive in the sacrament at the altar.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bishop.
Thank you.
Yeah. Listeners, give us a call at 888-287-0655.
Folks, we're waiting for you to make a generous donation. Is it donations and pledges?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yep. And they can be
Beautiful.
recurring, one time, pay you later,
Once a month.
once a month. Exactly. Yep.
Beautiful.
Whatever works for people. Just
And as I always say, Kim, no gift is too large and no gift is too small.
That's right.
Because the generosity of our dear folks is absolutely edifying, and especially in supporting things like this, which are so valuable for our area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you for that. We know we're asking you to dip into your pocket to help out with that, but we appreciate it so very much. And Bishop, speaking of seeking donations, how's the Living Christ campaign going?
Thank you so much. Well, we are very excited to announce that as of today, I think it might have been as of yesterday or Wednesday, we are well over goal. Our goal was 65 million, and we are at this point, we've reached $75 million.
Praise God.
And we continue to go. And that is an absolute sign of the generosity of our faithful people, of their engagement in their parish campaigns. And I can't tell you that we're in now wave 3. So we still have from now until June almost to go with wave 3. And I also have a number of major asks that I continue to do. And that is, to me, a tremendous sign of the dedication of our Catholic people, their love for their parishes, their love for their diocese, ultimately their love for the Lord and for the church. So I am so proud and grateful to our folks. I have said many, many times that I'm edified, I'm inspired, and I'm humbled. And I'm truly humbled by the generosity that we're seeing.
Yeah. What do you attribute this big response? I mean, normally you're engaged with a lot of people who are professional fundraisers and all that say, this is what we think the target is, and now
Right.
you've zoomed past that. I mean, that's a major milestone, really. So,
And it's interesting you say that, Jeff, because the company that we've engaged to help us with the campaign, CCS, they've used a mile marker, and it's terrific because they had a 65-mile marker, and now we just keep using the new mile markers as we go forward. And I said, anybody who lives in Ohio knows what mile markers because it sure helps them to travel. So these are true milestones in our diocesan life. There's only ever been one other capital campaign in the diocese, and the fact that this has already been so successful. I just can't say enough about how positively received it's been. And if I can, just a shout out in a particular way to all of the really hardworking pastors, pastoral leaders, and in particular, the volunteers of the parishes, because those folks on the ground are the ones who have made it happen. And I have to tell you that our pastors have said oftentimes in visiting with families, only 10 minutes of a 30-minute visit is talking about a donation or an ask, and 20 minutes is talking about the gift of their family, of their faith, and just talking about their lives in their parish. So it really is a pastoral reality and a pastoral opportunity. And that's, I think, what's made this wonderful. Also, as you can well imagine, the case statements for the diocese were very clear in our case statements. And remember now, one of the blessings was that every dollar that's given, 35% goes to the parish and 65% to the diocese. So that was very, very much, I think, an incentive for people.
yeah.
Because the wonderful case statements we've seen from various parishes, to put a new roof on, to pave a parking lot, to hire a youth minister, to place an endowment for future Catholic school children. I mean, all these wonderful things. And each parish had its own case statement, and it was, of course, particular to each separate parish.
Yeah.
So thanks be to God, and thanks to all of you listeners and if you have already participated, thank you for your generosity. If you've not yet, there's always time. So we have a website, livingchrist.com, so please feel free to join us for that, and certainly are grateful for your prayers too of thanksgiving for the good work that's been done so far. And for those who have pledged, obviously we have to depend on them fulfilling their pledges to make it all reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
fantastic.
If I could just,
please.
if I may pause you again and just say, it's also a credit to the priests of our diocese, because I can't tell you the generosity that's been shown by our priests. We have of major gifts and of the gifts of our pastors and parish priests, over $1.5 million from our priests alone. And that is so significant. And I have to tell you, dear people, that the priests themselves have said, how can I ask my people to give if I, as pastor or parish priest, have not myself first given? And that, to me, is, bar none, that's the most edifying thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, folks. I don't hear those phones ringing. And I guess they can also, Kim, text, right?
Yes, they can.
So, folks, you can be totally technological in your giving to this spring share drive. So you would text the word GIVE, GIVE, to 419-969-3255. So that is text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255.
And that way you can, if you're a multitasker, you can complete your donation or your pledge online while also listening to the bishop.
That's right.
And so why not do that? But if you're a phone person, give us a call, 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. 5.
So appreciate your commitment to and engagement with our Catholic radio throughout the diocese.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're coming up on the end of our time with you. So I want to thank. I know it goes
Already?
Hey, the Bishop's
wanna-
Corner show goes so fast, right? You
Yes,
know,
it
can't get
does.
enough questions answered.
Well, just a sideline, I can tell you too, Deacon Jeff, that my home parish growing up was Holy Family. So Holy
nice.
Family has a special place in my heart, and please know that I'll be asking the intercession of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph for the not just the financial success of this Spring Spirit Drive, but for the spiritual and pastoral success ongoing of Holy Family Radio.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really much appreciate it.
A pleasure. I hope I wasn't too late.
No, actually,
No.
no, actually, we were right, filling a little bit of time, and then as we were ready to go to break, I'm like, there he is. There's our special visitor. Let's
Perfect
go to
timing.
break, and it was
That's
just
right.
perfect. So
Well, thanks
thank
to
you.
all our listeners for your support, and thanks Kim and Jeff and all the good folks who volunteer here
Yes,
and who make Holy Family Radio happen. Thank you.
Before we let you go, could we be so bold as to request your blessing?
Surely, I'm very happy to do it. The Lord be with you,
and with your spirit.
and may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you forever.
Amen.
Amen.
And I pray for all of you that you continue in this beautiful Easter season to know the joy and the grace of the resurrection.
Thanks be to God.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you once again, Bishop Thomas, for joining us today. It is a real pleasure to be with you and be able to offer this to our listeners out there. So before we go to break, I just want to give the numbers one more time.
Can I do it?
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. So, folks, please call 888-287-0655 to make a pledge or a donation. Or, for those who are so savvy technologically, would you text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255. Many blessings, everyone.
All right. And with that, we'll go to a quick break then. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what it means with Catholic Radio and how you can help us and figure out what's going to happen from there. So we're closing up the last final hours of the 2023 Spring Spirit Drive here at Holy Family Radio. We'll be back after this.